Happy morning, children. Now, today we are going to discuss the friction chapter. In previous section, we all know the what is meant by friction and what are the types of friction. These all the things you know. Now, today we are going to discuss the increasing and reducing friction. Now, in previous section, friction is desirable in some situation. Have you ever thought why the sole of your shoes is curved? It is done to provide the shoes better grip on the floor. So it is you can move safely. Similarly, the treaded tires of cars, truck, bulldozer provide better grip with the ground. It's having the small holes and designs are given because it will be make the friction when applying the smooth surface mean it is not producing friction. When the rough surface and that is a in lubricant are produced, that is known as the friction. Okay, now the increasing the friction by using the brake pedals in the brake system of the bicycle or automobiles. When you ride the bicycle, the brakes pedals do not touch the wheels, but when you press the brake lever, these pedals arise to motion of the rim due to friction. How it is possible? See, you all are having the bicycle. If they touch the handbrake, the brake, it will be stopped the bicycle. How it is possible? Because the friction is inside the wheel. The friction was fixed in the inside the wheel. It will be closer. The brake means the friction will be come to the closer. That is known as the friction. And there are lot of the example we giving the increasing and reducing the friction. Now next we are going to discuss the lubricant. What is meant by lubricant? The substance which reduce the friction. What is meant by the substance which reduce friction are called lubricant. In some mechanicals, they may not be advisable to use oil as lubricant because oil is the cushion between moving part of using reducing the friction. Okay, the action of the lubricant. See the concept of increasing and reducing friction. First thing, if an object started moving, it would never stop if there were no friction leading to the accident. If there was no friction, everything would slide or slap to the lower point. If not having the friction of the any object, it will be fell down or slide or slap to the lower point. That is known as the decreasing, that is the reducing friction. Because if whenever the object will be moving, the object like bicycle, car, truck or bulldozer, whatever the vehicles are moving to one place to another place, while using the stop, if you want to moving the stop means it will be applying the reducing the speed. If now it was increasing the friction, that is known as the when applying the increasing friction. Okay, next one. So the various measure to increasing friction are, what are the things are increasing friction? The first one is the sole of the shoes is grooved so as to get a grip. The soles of the shoes will be grooved because it's a basic, the ground and your shoes will be compared to this part, it will be grooved. So that is the friction will be produced. The treated tires of the truck and bulldozers provide better grip on the ground. And this is also increasing friction. Okay, so what is meant by reducing friction? Reducing friction means while moving the car, truck or bicycle on the road, it will be want to stop the car or something. While using, that is known as the friction. Using brake pedals in the brake system of the cycle or car, this is the increasing friction. Kabaddi players rubbing their hands with soil for better grip. Why we all are the kabaddi players are using to rubbing your hands with soil? Because it will be give the grips. grips means that is known as the friction. These all the categories is known as the increasing friction. Understand? Now next we are going to discuss the decreasing, that is the reducing friction. Next we are going to discuss the second part, reducing friction. In some situations frictions are undesirable and hence some of the measure the minimize friction. We can take the minimize friction like see we sprinkle fine powder on carom board to reduce the friction. Okay, when we are playing the carom board, the sprinkle fine powder, why we all are using the sprinkle the fine powder? Because it will be, the coins will be moved from one place to another place, that can reduce the friction. Next one, few drops of the oil are poured in hangings of the door to move smoothly. That is one type of the reducing friction. And these all the categories. Now the increasing friction means while using the brake of the bicycle or car or vehicles. What are the vehicles we are using the brake? That is increasing friction. And decreasing friction means the sprinkle fine powder on the carom board. These all the things example of the reducing friction. Okay, understand what is meant by increasing friction and what is meant by decreasing friction. See the book. Now wheels reduce friction. In this point, we must have seen attached on another pieces of luggage fixed with the roller. Why we all are using the roller? Because it is reducing the friction. Okay, it's compared to the ground state, and while using the bag we are fixed for the roller, it's we easily move from one place to another place. Now see this picture, the boy was moving the bag, the roller rolling reduce the friction. Even a child can push such piece of luggage. Let us find out. When one body rolls over the surface of another body, the resistance to its motion is called rolling friction. What is meant by rolling friction? When one body rolls over the surface of another body, the resistance to its motion is called rolling friction. Look like the picture, the rolling reduces the friction. It is always easier to roll than the slide of body over another. It is the reason to convenient the pull luggage fixed with the roller. Can you now understand why the wheels is said to be one of the greater invention of the mankind? Because it's a rolling. See this activity 12.4. Take a few pencil which is cylindrical in the shape. Place them parallel to each other on the table. The place of thick book over it. It's observe the pencils rolling in the book move. Do you feel it is easier to move the book it this way than the slide it? Do you think that resistance to motion of the book has been reduced? So now we are using the reducing the friction. The motion of the book is roller. The motion of the book on roller. While using the pencil means it will be easier to move from one place to another place. This is the activity of reducing friction. And there are two types of the frictions are there. One of this rolling friction, sliding friction. Rolling friction means the boy moving. The boy was put the luggage, the piece of luggage fit with the roller. They can pull such a piece of luggage easier. That is known as rolling friction. Okay, next we are going to discuss the sliding friction. Since the rolling friction is smaller than sliding friction, slide is a replace is most mechanism by rolling by use the ball of the bearing. Common example is a ball bearing between hubs and axis of ceiling fans and bicycle. See the picture of the ball bearing reduce friction. While like this using for the ball bearing means where are the places are used in the ball bearing? That is the cylinder, upper part of the cylinder, and these coils, these all the things are used for ball bearing. Ball bearing is nothing, the small iron balls are inside the surrounding. It will be looser than, it's looser than in fixed of the circle like spherical like structure, that is known as the ball bearing. Now next we are going to discuss the fluid friction. What is meant by fluid friction? It is, air is very lighter and thin. Frictional force on the object moving through, it is similarity. Water and other liquid extract force of friction when object move through them. In the science, the common name of the gases and liquid is the fluid. Fluid means gases and liquid, these both are fluid. Okay, now see, the frictional force extract by fluids is also called as drag, that is known as drag. The frictional force on the object in fluids depend on its speed with the response to the fluid. The frictional force is always depend on the shape of the object, of nature of the fluid. It is obviously for when the object more through fluids, then they have overcomes the friction of action on them. This process is losses of energy while we are going to swimming. The body of the water, it's compared to the water and your body. Now the body is floating. What are the things are weightless that will be floating? That is known as the fluid. See the picture of fluid friction. Water and other liquid extract force of friction when objects move through them. Similarly, air extends frictional force on the object moving through it. In science, the common name of the gases and liquid is a fluid. Okay, now this picture, see the picture of the fluid friction. See the picture. Frictional force on the object in fluid depend on, it is speeds with the respect to the fluid, on the shape of the object, the nature of the fluid. When objects move through fluid, they have to overcome friction acting on them. In this process lose energy. And the end of this part, efforts are therefore made in minimize friction. So objects are given special shapes like the birds and fishes. Their bodies much have evolved the shape which would make the loser less energy in overcome friction. Example, aeroplane. In fact, all vehicles are designed to shape which reduce the fluid friction. Okay, children, we all are learned this lesson. Now we are going to discuss the exercise part. Now see this exercise part. Take fill in the blanks. The first question: friction oppose the dash between surface in the contact with each other. Motion is the between surface in contact with each other. This is the first question answer, motion. Next one, friction depend on the dash of surface. What is the answer? Nature of surface. The friction depend on nature of the surface only. Third one, friction produce dash, that is heat. Friction is produce heat. You all saw the example, that is advantage of the friction. Friction produce heat and disadvantages, it is the produce the heat means is the waste of heat energy. Sprinkle of powder on the carom board dash friction. You all know the answer, reduce friction. What is the answer? Reduce friction. Slight friction is a dash then static friction, lesser than static friction. The slight friction is always lesser than static friction. Okay, understand? Friction oppose the motion between surface in contact with each other. That is the first question. Second, friction depend on the nature of surface. Third one, friction produce heat. Fourth one, sprinkle of powder on the carom board reduce friction. Fifth one, slight friction is lesser than the static friction. Okay, the first Roman will be over. Second, four child were asked to arrange forces due to rolling static slide friction in the decreasing order. Now, what is the asking question? Four children were asked to arrange forces due to rolling static slide friction if compared to three types of friction in decreasing order. Their arrangements are given below. Choose the correct arrangement. Rolling static slide. That is rolling slide static. This is the second option. Static slide rolling. Third one. Fourth one. Sliding static rolling. What is the correct answer? Static, sliding, rolling is the correct answer. This is order of decreasing. Okay. So rolling static slide. It's again given. That is the what is the first thing? The first type of the friction is rolling static slide, and the opposite means the decreasing order means static slide rolling. Okay. Next question. Next question. Alida runs her toy car on dry marbles floor, wet marbles floor, newspaper and towel spread on the floor. The force of friction acting on car on different surface in increasing order. Well, what is the question are asking? Then there are three. The toy car on dry marbles floor, wet marbles floor, newspaper and towel spread on the floor. There are three types of there. One of this dry marbles. It is the dry floor, and wet if you are spreading the water. Third one, newspaper or towel spread on the floor. The force of attraction acting on the car, different surface, it is increasing order while you are asking for increasing order. See, wet marbles floor, dry marbles floor, newspaper and a towel. So what is the first thing? Increasing order means high friction, that is the low friction will be there in wet marble. Dry marbles means it is the better friction, and newspaper and towel means it is the more friction. Okay, this is the answer of wet marble friction, dry marble friction, newspaper and towel. Okay.